Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coding to Think. With me today, I've got Vusi, my friend. We're going to be talking about some of the things that we wish we knew when we started our careers as developers. And the reason for this is that I've been getting a couple of questions from some of the subscribers on Coding to Think, asking me about the tips and guidelines to follow in their career starting off.
Okay.
So yeah, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here, man.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about this. Well, from your side, what do you think are some of the things that you think our viewers might want to know getting into software development?
Well, I wish I knew.
Yeah.
Definitely being able to say no.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, you know.
Yeah.
I think that because we were probably working at a really cool place, or maybe it's our first jobs right straight out of varsity, I think that one of the things that I found myself doing, which I still think still goes on prevalently today, is the fact that we always want to show that we're eager to impress, and we know what we're doing. We have a very strong work ethic. We want to show people that we have a can-do attitude.
Yeah.
The problem is that when you don't really have any clear-cut boundaries around what you can have and what you can't.
Yeah.
And the work starts going overtime, and maybe the quality of the work starts going down because you need to meet a certain deadline that you just unable to meet because maybe too much overcommitment.
Yeah.
And I think that it's okay to say no, you can't do it. It's fine. I just wish I knew, because it added so much pressure on me unnecessarily, because there's obviously that need of being able to just say, hey man, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can totally do this.
Yeah.
This is fine. Like that cartoon with the fire in the background. This is fine until it's not fine,
Until it's not fine anymore.
So yeah, I think one of the things that I wish I knew was just being able to say no, but obviously not just outright no. There's ways to handle that situation, but just being able to to decline a body of work, if I could.
Yeah, it's interesting you should mention that, because I think the other important thing is being able to say no to things that you might want to do, but then being able to say, I am going to say no to this so that I can have more focus on certain areas of work and get to become really good at it. And a good example for me of this is when we're starting off, we want to work with everything, right? We want to work with the front end, the back end, the mobile, everything.
Yeah, you want to touch all the things.
You want to touch all the things.
Yeah.
But one thing that I find to be good, or that when I look back at my career, that I think helped me in some areas, is those times when I was able to focus on certain work and become really good at it, and having a good understanding of the principles. And so when you're spread too thin, you end up not being able to grasp the principles, because you're having your direction, your focus is spread in all sorts of directions.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
No. So it's important to just you need to say no for the right reasons, basically, not just decline work. So I agree with basically, no to focus is a great reason to say no. But I don't know, or even when it comes to things like mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because you come out of varsity doesn't mean that you are, standard issue graduate ready for work. No one knows what path
Yeah.
of life you're walking. So it could be a no from a mental health perspective, and that's okay. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So get into the fundamentals. What do you think somebody that's fresh out of varsity or somebody that's self-taught has a good understanding of a programming language, let's say JavaScript or Python? What do you think the next thing would be for one to start having a good enough understanding to be able to contribute in the workplace or when working with other developers?
That's an interesting question, because I'm a jump out into the deep end kind of person.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that once you have a grasp of the fundamentals, or depending on the framework as well, you know. So for example, if I'm going to mobile, I mean, one of the first things I'm going to advocate is know the language. I'm not advocating not knowing the language, but try your best to understand the platform as much as possible.
Yeah.
You know, like, just because you can write Kotlin, it doesn't mean you can write, let's say you've done like maybe 2-3 years of just Kotlin.
Yeah.
You know what a SOAR class is, you know what you know how to write infix functions and all those things, and inline classes, great features of the language. But when someone says write an Android app, you were like, okay, what's a fragment? you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there's definitely very big emphasis on, like, don't forego the language, but really try and understand the platform you're writing for, or understand the framework. I mean, even if it's like iOS, you know, if you're writing iOS apps, yes, you can learn Swift.
Yeah.
100% know Swift, but know as a platform how iOS works. How do their life cycles work? How do you do things in a background thread? How do you when someone swaps away from your app, you need to know how to handle like saving state.
Yeah.
And as much as this may sound like very deep dives, I still think that if you take any app today, let's say you've used, like, over the past 24 hours, how many times have you swiped an app away on your phone because you're done using it? Pretty frequently.
Yeah.
So, you know, it may sound like deep in the weeds type of thing, but I think that there are very, very strong fundamentals to learning a framework or a platform that you just need to know. And it's obviously platform dependent. You know, I don't know how to do web, so I won't even pretend to do things like that. I don't know what, like,
I'd say the same with web as well. If it's good to have a good understanding of the principles and the fundamentals of programming language like JavaScript when you are going into web. But if you're going to be working with a framework like Angular or React, it's also important to understand how things are done within those frameworks, because those frameworks can have a different way of doing things that than that you might know, right? You might find that what you would normally do with just vanilla JavaScript is done differently in the context of a framework. So it's good to understand what are some of the things that the framework is there to make easier. But of course, having an understanding of the language will help you move faster.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I think for this week, I think you've touched on some really big things. We mentioned one, focus, and also just being able to say no if a request comes in and you're not able to confidently deliver on that. It's okay to say, no, I can't do this because I have other commitments. The other thing that we've mentioned is it's good to understand the fundamentals and the principles, but the it's also important to have a good understanding of the frameworks and the platforms that you will be working on. And yeah, that's it for today, everyone. Thank you, Percy, for
Thank you.
sharing.
This is great. Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll have you again next time.
Okay, cool.
Right?
Yeah, let's hit on these things more often. I'm enjoying it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.